Welcome to a bit of a weird video. It's not so much a review. You might be guessing why I'm putting a bunch, obviously not that as a torch, not that as a red dot, but a bunch of PTX parts, trigger, hop adjustment screw, mag release, main body pin and the airline. And basically that's because I've changed the colour of my PTX. I knew I was going to do it. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be putting it back together, I'm going to do it on camera so you guys can see. And whoo, look at this colour. I haven't put this together yet or even married it up next to each other to see what the colour is going to be like. But this obviously used to be black. Those have been redone. The top slide has been redone. So the little back end piece with the iron sights. I did the RMR mount because the colour, the finish that this came from the factory was just horrible. It's like a really glossy thing there. Now with the frame, you're going to see it's a slightly different colour. But I wasn't actually aware of this until I took it apart, that they don't actually use a spring on the trigger. They use magnets that are like reverse polarity, like going against each other, which gives you the spring back of the trigger. So I had to be very careful. So what I did was, when I was doing it, I basically took because I could not get this out without damaging it. I tried everything. I tried trying to loosen up the glue or whatever they got inside. So I just took a screw. I let the screw go like so it was stuck on. And as you can see, that's still the original colour. I media blasted and painted around it. The one thing this did do wrong for me though, is you'll see this area here, you see all this like speckling. So that's the magnet, and I think it's just slightly reacted with the metallics in the colour of the Cerakote here, or it's just there was stuff in the air, something's attracted something to the magnet where it's slightly affected the paint finish, but it's underneath, it's never going to be seen, so I'm not too bothered. So I'm going to be putting this back together today, and hopefully I can remember where everything goes. I didn't do the trigger because, again, I did want to do the trigger. I wanted to do the trigger and the mag release in like a third colour as like accent pieces, like it'd be like red or gold or something. But we've got a sticker on there which I don't have a spare for, and also we've got another magnet here which is going to be very hard for me to get out. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave it black. This rough finish here is what they've done from the factory. So all this damage you see here and this rough filing of the part has been done at gate, probably just to get them to sit in a little bit better. So I need some screws. There's a side plate as well with a sticker. I obviously don't have a sticker for that either, so it'd be easy to do. I just didn't want to mess about with it, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to keep those parts black, and at a later date, if I want to figure it out, then I can do. So we can put the trigger in. This is actually pretty simple. So that goes in there, and there's a pin that goes through the body. Let me get a cloth. Have I got a cloth? Because I don't want to sort of put this on the bench and tap it with a hammer. There we go. I don't really want to scratch it up before it's together. It's going to get scratched up anyway, but just put that on here, and then we can just tap that in. Just going to use a little screwdriver because it's nice and thin and out of the way. So we're just going to tap this pin in. What stops this pin falling out is you have a grub screw on each end, which is one of these bad boys. I think it's a 2mm. So we take that grub screw. We have one going from this side like that till it's flush. And then we have one from the other side. So I might need to tap that pin a little bit more because it's making the trigger ever so resistant. So we need to pull that back here. Shouldn't really be affected by the Cerakote because it goes on very thin. I'm going to tap that through a little bit more. I think it's not quite all the way through. Let's get pokey tool, that'll do. Yeah, we're still a little bit resistant, so let's tap that pin back out. If this goes on for too long, I'll just cut the video down a little bit. So I don't think it's the trigger. Yeah, the trigger's not the issue. It's the pin for some reason. So the pin looks okay. Let's pull the trigger back out. So it's very stiff on the trigger, as you can see there. So much so that it gets stuck. So we could slightly file this out just so it sits a little bit better. Just ever so slightly. Running the file through here. I did notice before that my trigger was a little bit hit and miss sometimes. So it's just a tolerance issue. Still a little bit stiff. Right. Because this part's boring, I'm going to quickly fine tune this and then we'll be back. And there we go. Just a slight bit of fine tuning on that pin, just to get it nice and smooth. We want it to be, we don't want it to be loose. So the pin that the hole this goes through is slightly smaller than the hole for these grub screws, so you can bottom these grub screws out. And now, nice and good. So that goes in. That's pretty simple. I've got to give hats off to Gate, because the way that they've done this, so how it comes apart and goes together, is so simple that it's literally like it doesn't take much thinking about it at all. So let me remember how this went in. So we put the airline in the grip there. I want it to sit there while we clamp these together. Usually we have a bit of wiggle room to push this in or out, so we still have that to a degree. Yep, so we should be able to easily put the engine in. And then this grip is held with, we've got 3 screws, so we've got one here, and one at the front. So we have a couple of different screw sizes. So we have 2 that are small, we have 1 that's slightly longer, and then we have 2 that are very long. So the one that's slightly longer goes in the trigger guard, the 2 long screws go through the main part of the grip, and then the 2 smaller screws are what grips it into the frame. So we'll get our slightly longer one. I believe these are a 2.5. Yep. And we'll get this screwed together. So one in the trigger guard. Be careful not to go, if you are doing any work on your PTX, be careful not to go too strong, and the last thing you want to do is strip that threads, because this as a spare part, these grips, I imagine they're not going to be cheap because they're CNC machined. I did manage to pull a lot of the machining marks out with the media blasting, but I didn't want to take it too far, so it has smoothened it out just ever so slightly. So I believe we can do this now. So we take the grip, we push our line out the way like that, and we basically slot the trigger guard and this piece here, and they should slot together once I've got them lined up like that. Yeah. And then what that enables us to do is to take the 2 smaller screws, and those screws go through the grip into the frame. Be very careful with those, because again, don't want to be stripping them out. So we've got 1 on each side, and that's in. Now you can kind of see the colour effect I'm going for. So we're going to fit the mag release. Now the mag release is a 1.5. we've got the mag release, button, the screw, and of course the catch. We put the catch in from the one side, we put the spring on, and then we put the button on. 1.5mm Allen key, and we just snug that down. Don't have to go silly with it, just till it's tight. Make sure it's nice and free moving, which it is. They have got slots here for an extended, what looks like an extended flared mag well, so I'm hoping they grace us with that soon. So we've got two big bolts here. That's for the rear end cap. We've got the engine, of course, and the battery. So we take the engine. This is my replacement engine. You can screw that onto the airline like that, and then as we pull this down, it will pull that into the frame. We need to get the battery in there, so battery, loop that wire around. This was a bit of finger gymnastics last time we did it, so we need to make sure everything's lined up and out of the way. The connector obviously went down the side here. This wrapped around the barrel. Pull the engine in. This wraps around the barrel. Should just about clear the inner barrel from the body. Like that. Just don't want to pinch the wires. Pull the engine down, should give you a bit more wiggle room here, and then that's when we loop that over and we can plug it in like that. Of course, you can see it actuating there. We don't have a selector on, so just get all this sitting nicely. Then we can take the back part here, which goes onto the back of the frame, and we have two bolts which are slightly bigger. 1 and 2. We need a 3mm for that. Just like before, we're going to do these up, but we're not going to do them up super tight, because we want it to have a little bit of play for when we test the putting the, what do you call it, the top slide on. Should have grub screw. There we go. 1.5mm Allen key. This is the hop adjustment screw, which I'm just going to put in there and have it sit flush like that. While we're doing that, I did have a replacement sticker from Gate for this. Can't exactly remember. I'm sure it was over here somewhere. There we go. So this was a replacement Aster sticker for our new engine. So I can go ahead, put that in there, which coincides with the MOSFET that's the Aster that sits on the side. We need to get the selector on. So we have this plate, we have a tiny ball bearing with some little shims. This one was a bit of a pain to get off because of how it sits. So we have to get the ball bearing, we sit the ball bearing in that little hole. We then slide this into place, and then we need to take this screw, if I can get it on my hands, put a little plastic washer on both of them, and then because these are at a very sharp angle, you need to use like a conventional Allen key, At the time they were a bit tight and the Allen key was not gripping the screws all that well. So what I did is I just used a pair of needle nose pliers with a nice coarse teeth on the grippers, just to slightly grab the heads of these and get it started. But it is very, there goes the ball bearing, very finicky, so you have to be very careful. I mean, unless you're doing what I've done, there's really no need to take this thing apart, unless you're having to put like a new sticker on. But rest assured, apologies you can't see this, I'm trying to line the screw up. Because the screw is so small, it's like a struggle to hold it and line it up. Come on, there we go. Are you in? No. What I'm going to do first, because I've got one started, this is the tedious part of this now, and I feel for the guy that sat in the gate factory, unless they've got a special little tool doing this. They must have a special tool, mustn't they? There's no way someone's going to be doing this way. I'd probably turn it by hand most of the way. So yeah, that was the only pain I really had. That and the magnets. Again, the magnets are in there in a way where they're not really retrievable. It would have been nice to have had some way to remove them. I suppose they've built this in a way where no one's really going to have to do that. But if you want to customize it like I have, then you really need to strip the whole thing apart because of the process of what we do for Cerakote and stuff like that. I'm doing my best to get this screw in. I might skip this ahead for you so you don't have to be witness to this. This is tedious, and we'll just get back when I've finished tightening these screws up. Right, that was tedious as hell, but we got there in the end. We can hopefully test fit this on and see what it's going to look like. I might have to re-put this engine in. I don't think it's quite right. Oh, in we go. Pop the pin in. We can push this back plate up. That should sit over the top of that sort of fake top slide there, and screw these down. There we go, and there's my PTX looking a little bit fantastic. Now we've got to add some bits to this yet, so in the torch bag we have the screws for the red dot mount, so we can line those up at the back there, whack those in. I think that's 2.5. These I'll come back and Loctite these on when I'm happy. That goes on there. Take the red dot itself, screw that down. Oh. Make it nice and snug. We don't want to over tighten it and ruin the threads, just until it stops. And then of course we're going to need something to see people in the dark here. Now, this is risky after it's just been coated, but it's going to get scratched up anyway. And there we have it. My PTX is ready. So I was going for like a logo alien vibe with this, with the colours, which hopefully has come across well. I didn't want it all the same colour. Now, colours wise, this is gunmetal grey, this is sniper grey. I just added the sniper grey in there just to break up the two two surfaces, and I mean, you guys might not like it, but I think it's come out pretty damn good. So I did the thread protector in the same colour as well, which I'm going to be running a suppressor on here. Now here's a crappy 3D printed one, just for in fact, have I got a black one? Oh, I bet actually. This is the prototype STFU. This might go with it really well. Bit of extra contrast. This is the prototype STFU that wasn't anodized, which goes on really well. Just get some foam in this and actually use it, because this was insanely expensive. And there we have it. So I could just put a black suppressor on here. You have to let me know down the guys. You have to let me know, guys, down in the comments below if you think I should put a black suppressor on here, or this is going to be used in CQB. Just rock the chrome can, just because we ain't trying to be subtle with the pattern anyway. I do have a black STFU somewhere. I think it's oh, there it is actually. I found it, so we can see what the black one looks like after I take it off this gun that's got really long threads. So I'm just going to check. Yeah, this is the one I put the trace unit in, so this might be a better fit. Maybe we go black instead. Wow, look at that. I really like it. It's a bit different. It's what I was going for. I don't want to be the same as everyone else out there that has either got a black one, a purple one, a green one, or a tan one. This now is something pretty damn cool. And the colours look slightly different on camera than what they do to my normal eyeball. It's not as reflective. But yeah, I'm going to go and hopefully get a game in with this Friday. I'm going to run the fat can on there with a tracer. And we've got the torch on there. I need to put some batteries in it still. So there you go. You'll have to let me know what you think down in the comments below. Black can or silver can. I might do a poll, which you can just pick one of the choices. So if you see the poll underneath the video, be sure to put your votes in there. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. A little bit long-winded, but we got there in the end. It's not always a straightforward thing, but taking this apart from the magnets, this thing is just an absolute joy to have to mess with, because it's just so simple. You know, not having, as long as you don't have to mess with the engine, it's just, there's just hardly anything to it. You know, you just a couple of bolts and the whole thing comes apart. It's very easy to understand. So I've lost the red dot off there, which I'll put on at some point, but to be honest, probably won't. It's not really going to bother me all that much. I might slim this down. And I'm going to change the connector. I did have one on here actually. I saw it the other day. Yeah, there we go. So these connectors, I know I was just wrapping the video up, but there we go. These connectors come with the AirTac stuff, and I like them because they're extremely small, so they don't get in the way. I'm not going to be able to get this off. And they come with these clips, because it's like a QD insert. So this one is fat and ugly. Look at the size. Look at the chunkiness of that to that. It's just so much more sleeker. Am I going to be able to get this off? Let's give it a go. I'm going to try and tap it off. Or should I do it with pliers? Let's do it with pliers. Oh, these will do. I just need to get a bit of leverage. I'm using the wrong tool for the job here. Got it enough though. That's enough. I can get the tool in. Pop the E-clip off. Yeah, there we go. I can sack off that horrible looking connector. We could put this one on instead. I'm going to leave it that length for now, and I'll trim it down if I need it. We shove the E-clip back on. That stops us accidentally pressing that. I'm going to leave it there because you've been with me long enough, and I imagine a lot of you have clicked off the video already. So thanks for sticking around me while I muck about with my PTX. I hope you like the colour scheme. It's very different, very Lago alien. That's what I was going for. and it's nice to be unique. I was going to engrave it with like loads of funky stuff, but I chose not to. We can do that at a later date. And yeah, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching as always. And from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.